The holiday season is upon us, and as a Christmas gift, Limbus Company players got a rerun of the Miracle in District 20 event, which will likely become a mainstay of Winter Limbus Company going forward. This event features a short campaign with new enemies, 2 difficulty levels, a new type of currency, as well as a replayable boss fight to farm said currency. And, of course, lots of rewards. In today's video, I want to introduce you to the event and take a look at the replayable boss fight and how to farm it quickly, as well as what kind of rewards you can get for your troubles. But before we start, I have to tell you that most of my viewers are not subscribed, and if you find yourself enjoying my videos enough to come back, consider pressing the subscribe button to never miss my new uploads. It's free, takes just 1 second and helps me out a lot. Now, back to the miracle. Starting off, a short overview of the event. Miracle in District 20 takes place in an already existing part of the game, that being the first Intervallo 3. Because of this, you can access this event earlier than most new events, as it's unlocked after you beat the last encounter in Canto 5. Once you finish Canto 5, you will get access to the easy difficulty of Miracle in District 20. The Intervallo consists of 12 stages, 3 of which are just stories, and a replayable boss fight. Because this part of the game is considered as a story mode, you will need to use encapsuling to access the stages. So don't rush to make modules, as you can't use them in the first 9 encounters. However, after that the boss fight does use modules, so it's the perfect stage to farm. When beating encounters for the first time, you will get trinket sacks, a new currency you can exchange in the advent calendar for valuable rewards. If you decide to challenge these fights again, you will get a lot less sacks. Once you clear the 12 stages of the Intervallo, you get access to the replayable boss fight, which yields 5 times as much currency as any other stage every time you beat it. So if you're looking to get all the event rewards, this is the only stage that matters. But what is waiting for you in these stages? Well, let's go through them and look at everything that stands out. First of all the stages feature enemies unique to this Intervallo – Gnomes. Gnomes come in a couple of different forms, but we don't really care about the minute differences. What we do care about is the fact that they all share strengths, weaknesses and passive abilities. Starting with the most important part, their weaknesses. All gnomes, including the boss, are weak to Pierce, Wrath and Gluttony damage. Additionally, they don't endure Lust, Envy and Pride, making them perfect targets for a bleed team clear. All the weaknesses are 1.5x for the small gnomes. However, manager gnomes only take 1.2x damage from Pierce, and the boss only has Wrath as his 1.5x weakness. As for the gnome strengths, as long as you're not extremely underleveled, they can't really hurt your team. However, if you are underleveled or got really unlucky with identities while getting to this point in the game, the gnomes do have a couple of tricks up their sleeves. First of all, if you plan on using syncing for this encounter, note that gnomes have an interesting low morale and panic state, as they gain fragile but also damage up, making them very vulnerable while at low SP, while also allowing them to hit you a lot harder if you mess up. This is especially notable in the boss fight, as that's the only place where your team can take meaningful damage if you're not careful. Passives are also something the small gnomes share with the managers, as both of those enemies receive plus 2% chance to flip heads per surviving sinner. This results in a 12% bonus chance to flip heads with a full team, which is equal to having 12 additional SP. This effect does not bypass the 95% cap. However, if you feel like the gnomes are hitting way more heads than they should, this is probably why. The second passive is also shared, and it allows the gnomes to gain 1 haste and attack power up if there are more sinners than gnomes. This is yet another ability that can be threatening to a new player, but has pretty much no effect if you have a strong team, as it activates at turn end, meaning that if you can one turn stagger the gnomes, you will never even see its effect. Before we look at the boss, let me tell you a fun fact about this Intervallo. Of course, if you've played already, you know about this, but a new player must be prepared for the fact that in certain stages of the event you will be forced to use exclusively Dawn and Heathcliff, and in others you will have to use everyone but them. The stages that Dawn and Heathcliff have to duo clear are easier though, so it's not like you're forced to max out their identities to beat the encounters. Moving on, let's get back to our big bad boss. Santata, who I will just be calling Santa from now on. As I've already said, his weaknesses are the same as the other gnomes. However, he has a fully unique set of skills and passive abilities. I wouldn't say this boss is difficult to beat. In fact, he's one of the easiest in the game. But once again, if you are new, there are some things to keep in mind. First of all, Santa stacks poise. This means he can critically strike for extra damage, making his attacks a bit stronger than they seem. Also, his Let's Get Packing skill rose up to 18, making it a decently difficult clash to beat with an up-tie 3 team. To have an easier time with that skill, you can focus down his gift sack, as one of his passives forces his strongest skill to lose 2 base power if Santa's gift sack is broken. However, you can go for a completely different strategy if you have a sufficient amount of Wrath, Pierce and Gluttony damage. Santa's body has access to a defensive block skill, called Time to Get Boxed. It can give him up to 100 shield. This might look like a strong way for him to stall you, but in reality, this skill helps you beat Santa quicker. If the shield HP from the skill is fully depleted, Santa becomes instantly staggered next turn, allowing you to get a free stagger as long as you can deal 100 damage to his body after he uses the block. Outside of that, easy mode Santa doesn't have much more to offer, meaning we're moving on to the hard mode. The hard mode of the Miracle in District 20 event is unlocked later than the easy mode, requiring the player to beat Kanto 6 to access it. All enemies in the hard mode have their level set to 50, which makes them a lot stronger in terms of offense and defense levels, but outside of that, the normal gnomes don't get any major power-ups. This, combined with the EX clear reward reset for the hard mode, as well as the 50% extra trinket sacks from the encounters, makes the hard mode a very potent place to farm, as it grants a ton of rewards without incurring any risk at all. The only real change to the enemies here is Santa's strongest attack. Let's Get Packing now features unbreakable coins, making it a pretty strong attack that you don't want hitting your sinners. Luckily, Santa retains all his weaknesses, as well as the instant stagger from breaking his shields, meaning that in most cases you won't even get to see the attack. Before we move on to the rewards, let's take a look at how to farm trinket sacks with the most efficiency, so you don't have to waste a ton of Encapsulate modules on getting all the rewards. First of all, there are 4 ego skills tied to this event. Last year it was the Holiday Collection, and this year it's Christmas Nightmare. If your sinners are equipped with these egos while beating event encounters, you will get additional rewards based on the amount of event ego skills you used. The Christmas Nightmares and Holiday Otis all provide 40% bonus rewards, and Holiday Heathcliff gives only 20%, because it's free and we can't have nice things. Also, the bonus rewards are capped at 120%, meaning that if you're running all the 40% ego skills, Holiday Heathcliff does nothing and is even less useful than you might think. Now for the actual farming, you're going to want to use a team that can dish out huge pierce and wrath damage in order to farm all the rewards as quickly as possible. Of course, the team that is known for that is Bleed, but really all you need is Manager Dawn. Her second skill does a great job at plowing through the gnomes with incredible efficiency, and she can make very quick work of Santa as well, speeding up your clears drastically. Manager Dawn is, in fact, so good here that you can just solo grind with her and you won't lose that much time. Running at least 3 IDs is still faster, but Dawn's solo clears are way better than anyone else. Alternatively, if you didn't get Dawn, while also not having any good bleed IDs, your second best option is probably Burn. That team also has a hyper carry identity just like Bleed. However, Dawn Office Sinclair lacks the power to instantly pulverize the gnomes with skill 2. In return, he gets a nuke skill 3 that has Wrath Affinity, meaning Burn can also make short work of Santa. And while we're on the topic of hyper carries, we can also take a look at Sinking and Wild Hunt Heathcliff. While it's true that Heath doesn't take advantage of the gnome's weaknesses, he can still dish out good damage. That is because Heathcliff himself can stack up coffins on the small gnomes to increase his damage, while the sinking effect sends the gnomes into panic, inflicting them with fragile and forcing them to take even more damage. However, all of this only accounts for one type of trinket sack farming. because for the duration of the Miracle in District 20, the Mirror Dungeon will always contain a limited edition event pack, and beating that pack will allow you to get a ton of additional currency upon completing the Mirror Dungeon. The unique pack is a long battle, meaning you only have to face one encounter on the floor, and considering how easy the encounter is, it's one of the fastest floors 4 or 5 you can get in Mirror of the Dreaming. This is very good news for players looking to farm up Mirror Dungeons, as you can get much faster clears for the duration of the event, while also farming trinket sacks on the side, which makes Miracle in District 20 the best time to farm Mirror Dungeons for tons of rewards. And of course, I recommend going with Burn for that, simply because of the sheer explosive speed of Glimpse of Flames, as well as the fact that the event encounter is weak to the one sin affinity that is very prominent in Burn. Last, I want to take a look at some of the rewards in the order you want to get them in to maximize your farming efficiency. And, well, the order is pretty simple. Just get the Encapheline boxes followed by Holiday Heathcliff, so you can get more clears as fast as possible, while also getting the bonus rewards from the event Eagle skill. One thing I have to mention is that if you got the Miracle in District 20 decorative rewards last year, you will have those already unlocked in this year's advent calendar. However, all the resource rewards have been reset, meaning that older players will not have to farm for an extremely long time, and can just get everything they need extremely easily. I, for example, finished my farming in one sitting in around an hour or so by win rating with Bleed. And the last thing I want to tell you is please don't use the tickets given in this event to try and pull the Christmas Nightmare Eagles, while Nacht is literally around the corner, and the tickets are much better used there. With that, I think I've told you everything you need to know about the new Miracle in District 20 event. Soon enough, I'll cover the new Eagle skills, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best luck in the new year. This was Ultranum, and I hope to see you again in 2025. Goodbye!